Okay, 9:15, podcast at 10 with James. Always a pleasure to go on James's podcast. Gonna go to Cafe Nero and grab a quick Americano, and then we shall do said podcast. Welcome folks to episode number 5 of the Ibiza Cut. Elle is currently in Ibiza and I don't really know what to do with myself. Very jealous, sending me many a video at Ants last night. Today's a rest day. Very successful second part to Integra's Foundations of Exercise Mechanics and Design yesterday at Third Space. If anyone goes to Third Space in Canary Wharf, you don't realise how lucky you are. What an incredible gym. A fantastic gym. But rest day today is 100 grams of carbs. One tip when consuming such low food on rest days is to just prolong it. So start meal number 1 mid to late afternoon. Grab a coffee now. Hey, let's podcast. Black coffee, your himbine at the ready. Oh, Jorgen! God damn, the fridge is looking bare. Chicken, prawns and gin and tonic. The optimal cutting diet. The time now is 1 o'clock. As I said before at the start of the video, the key to consuming such little food on a rest day is push your first meal as far back in the day as possible. So 1 o'clock, gonna have 200 grams of chicken, 75 grams of prawns, put it into a little bowl, bit of old El Paso seasoning, some tomatoes, some spinach, and then gonna go to Ibiza's like 2 weeks away. Ibiza's 2 weeks away, so gonna go to Bromley and get an idea of a few bits and pieces that I want for the holiday, for the big reveal, the clothes haul. Let's eat some food. And that is meal number 1 coming at cha. Prawns and chicken, old El Paso, a little bit of sriracha sauce, some tomatoes and spinach. Gonna have this and then we'll go get some cloves. And that's pretty much it for meal number 1 really. It's enough, that 200 grams of chicken is enough to satiate me for a couple hours before I have my second meal, and at that point then introduce some carbohydrates. Today, Hans, I'm wearing Russell, as you know, my TMC t-shirts are Russell Athletic from Foot Asylum, jeans, Primark, shoes, Prada. I said at the start of the year that I think that the business, everyone knows the film The Business with Danny Dyer in there, would come back round, and I've seen a few Sergio pieces and Fila. Jack from last year's Love Island as well has just dropped his new clothing line called Ray, and it is replicating that sort of vibe. So try my best to pick up a few pieces, which is quite hard in 2019. It is 20 past 4. Got a few bits. All will be revealed on the clothes haul. Noise. The time's 20 past 4. I want to eat about 8, and then I have another meal at 9 just in time for Peaky Blinders. So I'm a little bit hungry now, but it's all in the mind. This is my saviour when I want something sweet during a cut. Blood orange from Marks and Spencer's. A few ice cubes. It's perfect. Haven't got any ice cubes. We'll roll with it. What's the time? The time is now. The time is 8 o'clock. And the carbs are going in. It was a tricky 3 hours, but I got through it. Just want to thank my mum, thank my dad. What have I just pressed in? Carbs are going in. And then in an hour's time for Peaky Blinders, time to perfection, I'll have my 2 slices of the toast, the Tesco's protein toast, with some peanut butter and my oats. Final meal of the day, my favourite. We've got 1 pack of oats, 2 slices of toast with 30 grams of peanut butter, 2 scoops of whey, and Peaky Blinders. Total food intake for the day, you can see that. 197 protein, 99 carb and 52 fat. So bang on the money. It's a chilly one. Hey, let's clear a few things up. Morning cardio time. First question, what is the best way to track calories when dieting or on a contest prep? Doesn't matter, as long as you stay consistent, whether that is your Apple Watch, Fitbit or the machine itself. Don't alternate. If you started your prep tracking your calories through cardio via the machine itself, then stay consistent throughout. Secondly, if I'm doing my cardio in the morning that is a treadmill walk, then how do I calculate my steps? So if you're doing 10k steps per day and you do your treadmill the first thing in the morning and you jump on the treadmill and you do your half an hour walk and that equates to like 4k steps, just subtract that throughout the whole day. So you should be aiming for then 14k steps on your watch. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Like now, I haven't done any steps, so I'm gonna go and do my uphill walk now. If I do 4k steps, I'll just take all of them steps off that. But I should be aiming for 14k because I've already done 4k on there. Now, I've probably explained that in a quite confusing way. But basically just subtract, make a note of how many steps you've done on that bout of cardio and subtract it from your total steps done for the day. And if you're on 10k steps and you've done 4k, then you should be aiming for 14k. So if you check your watch and go, oh, I've done 10k steps, that's bad. Maybe I credit you with enough intellect to understand where I'm coming from. Anyway, let's do cardio. Better lighting. Cardio done. No more refeeds. Got 2 more weekends until we go away, so no more refeeds. So training day carbs have gone back up slightly. Hold on, Tom, how can you go from refeeding and then putting your carbs back up? It's this mental thing called energy balance. So whereas before I was having 150 grams of carbs on a training day, 4 training days, 600. Rest days were 100 grams of carbs, so 200. And then my refeed day on like a Saturday or a Sunday was 350. So my total carbohydrate intake for the week was 1,150. Now we've pulled off on a refeed day. We can add some carbs back on to training day. So training day carbs at 200, giving me 800. Rest days, 3 of them, so 300. It's a grand total of 1,100. Which is like 50 grams of carbs less. So back into a deficit, still in a deficit, into a deficit. And then the last week before Ibiza, I'll probably go down to like 175 carb or 150 carb on a training day. Bring that right down. You know, get sort of really shredded for Ocean Beach. Training day, meal number 1, we got 3 slices of toast, 2 of Marmite, 1 with a little bit of jam. Nice pump for training. A big 200 gram egg white omelette. And 1 pack of Tesco oats, 1 square of dark chocolate, and some strawberries in there. Pre-workout time. Cycling round. This week I'm using interest stays pretty much the same. I've got some EAA Plus by Supplement Needs on the way for this month's order, so back to that. But using NutriBio's Indra Blast, and then Pump, VascuMax. Big fan of Strom. A lot of my favourite supplements come from Strom, with their protein, their Support Max Neuro as well. It's fantastic. And Orange Brainwash, nice due to not too high on the stim side, so only 150 mega caffeine, but quite a nicely dosed array of cognitive enhancement ingredients. So make these now and we'll go and train.
This is the Vodafone voicemail service for 0795.
I was so excited. Hey everybody, welcome to the groovy tunes of cycles. This weather is not making me excited for Ibiza. It's weird though, isn't it? Yes, like when it was sunny last week I was chuffed. And now I'm like, can I park here? This is the thing, Muscle Works isn't my gym, so I'm keeping a very low profile, keeping myself to myself and my head down. How everyone should be when entering a new environment. Hello, how are we? Fucking hell, Con. We've got Ibiza in less than 2 weeks, mate, and you're eating this. You just don't care, do you? You just don't care anymore. 2 weeks left of the cut. The next episode of the Ibiza Cut is episode number 6, I believe, and I went to Crayford and used their ridiculous lighting in there, which made me look a lot more conditioned than I am. So we'll give a little physique update and a little insight into how life has been with pretty much zero anabolics compared to previous contests and diet where you're utilising things like Trem, propionate, so quicker acting testosterones, Proviron, Winstrol, Helios. But we'll dive into a little bit more information about that, and also my off-season plans, because it's the first time that I will be transitioning from a cruise where we are mimicking our natural testosterone levels into a blast. So usually I'd be contest prepping and blasting on anabolics, and I couldn't then continue blasting just from a health perspective, for example. So I'd dip into a cruise, and then at the start of that initial 8 to 10 weeks of the off season, I'll be cruising. This time around, because I have been at that TRT level of testosterone, we can now go, right, let's utilise this rebound from the condition that we're in, ramp up the doses, and we can try and gain as much tissue in that 8 to 10 weeks, depending on how long the cycle will be. So I'm very, very excited for that. Callum is competing this weekend, so if you're watching Callum, hope it all goes well. Looking absolutely insane. He's set the benchmark for what sort of condition we should all be hitting, even for a first timer. I think there's quite a common theme amongst first time bodybuilders, like, oh, it's just my first shot, I didn't really need to get into that condition. Callum's just, it looks incredible, absolutely incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing him on stage. But week number 3 of this current meso, got one more week left, which will be next week, and we'll be predominantly training to failure pretty much for all exercises then. And then at that point, try and utilise a couple of training partners. I think I'm meeting Celso on the Tuesday at Crayford, which should be good. Haven't seen him in a while. And then try and get a training partner in from one of the leg sessions just when I do pendulum squats to take that to failure. And then we'll be going to Ibiza and not training out there. So it won't be essentially a deload, it'll just be a period of time off training. I think I fly out there on the Wednesday and get back on the Tuesday. A couple of days to clear out, and then obviously start the off season. I think we're going to Tobacco Docks on the 19th, and that'll be and then we've got Solomon in December. So that'll be tricky when we are entering the off season and utilising more anabolics, going to Solomon. So just got to be very, very careful there. Probably just be sensible and not take anything. But training is in a fantastic position. It's the first time I've overhead pressed in quite a long time. You've heard me mention in previous training videos that just these shoulder problems causing all sorts. And in particular that machine, I just did it complete by chance, that Cybex machine. I was waiting for someone on the cable, so I sat down and I thought, well, let me try this out. And that particular machine, in terms of the setup, is perfect, and you can do it single-handedly, but double-handed worked absolutely fine. So I've now programmed that into my second upper sessions of the week, which is good. Pulling a little bit back on the weight side of things. I don't want to go straight into lifting heavy, but Lauren's been working wonders with this shoulder, and I'd say I'm at sort of like 90%. A lot of the work that we've been doing recently is sort of scapular retraction with focus on the rhomboid. So sort of putting this might come in handy for anyone that's had the same sort of problem. It almost feels like, and a couple of people have messaged me on YouTube and on Instagram as well, it feels like this whole shoulder's much more forward and this trap is elevated. Part of the problem was that my chest was way too tight in here, so I open up that chest, brings that back a little bit, and then what Lauren's had me doing is put my hand behind my back, with my other hand grab my elbow down and retract, and you hold that for sort of 10 or 15 seconds, and you notice it straight away that sort of sits back into position. And I'll also use a tennis ball, lie on the floor, arm behind the back, get underneath that blade and just roll it out, and it's working. So very, very thankful that we've got some overhead pressing movements in. Like I said, in the next video we'll go into sort of off-season plans, but I'll let you enjoy the rest of the video. Hey, the time is now 2 o'clock. We have approximately 1 hour before deep tissue / physio with Lauren. So I'm going to get a post-workout meal, which is my usual 75 grams of prawns, 200 grams of chicken, no carbs. Save the carbs for later. Have some spinache and some tomatoes. Get a physio, then go to Sainsbury's, get a few bits and bobs, and then chill this evening. Another fantastic session with Lauren. As you saw in today's video, overhead pressing finally after quite a few months. Must have had like 6, 7, maybe 8 sessions now with Lauren. I'd highly recommend you go if you've, I mean, I've only been going with my shoulder, so not too sure what she's like with other areas of the body, but I'll put her Instagram. Anyone in particular that trains at King's that's got any niggles, then I'd highly recommend going. Oh, you're not even ready for the feast that's going down tonight. Top Boy's back. Top Boy. It's on Netflix now. Sorry, I thought the mic was off then. Elle's also back from my Ibiza, which is good because I'm fucking losing my head sitting in the flat alone. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of how to eat 100 grams of carbs. Just a little insight into those that are on quite a restrictive diet, what you can do with food. Push it back a little late. Rely on 0-calorie fizzy drinks, a little black coffee here and there. Start the food late in the afternoon and you should be okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, good night. Much love.